Good morning and welcome to another episode of Josh and Pat. I'm Joshua Klein, joined by Patrick Cassett, and Gunnar Henderson didn't hit the cycle yesterday because he chose not to. After going into his last at-bat with a home run, triple, and a double, Gunnar Henderson only needed a single to complete the cycle for the Orioles, and he hits a line drive down the right field side, and he turns to go to two. Now, this move caught the internet in a big controversy where some people are saying, hey, it was a selfless move. Other people are saying, just take the cycle. You're up 10 runs. Patrick, what do you think Gunnar should have done, and did he make the right decision?
And you know what? Gunnar Henderson's going to have to live with the decision on whether or not he goes for the cycle or he goes for the extra base hit. But I'll tell you what, Josh. That dugout for the Orioles was not happy with Gunnar Henderson. We'll put it like this. The Orioles, it's a pretty rare feat to get a cycle for them. Now, yes, has Cedric Mullins done it this year? Yes, but there's been less than 10 in their history, dating all the way back over, 60 years now? So it's a very rare thing. But Gunnar Henderson, that's the type of player you get. You get a player he's going to hustle. He's going to go for two. And some are saying this is more impressive than the cycle because he got more bases.
Well, statistically, I think that would make sense because I say a 4 home run game is more impressive than hitting the cycle. I think the more you get is probably better. But you're right. This is an interesting move to make. Some people are saying this is the ultimate team player, though, because at the end of the day, this guy, he didn't even think about stopping at first. He's always thinking about how many bases can I get? How many can I get for the team? Very interesting move, though, especially when you're up 10 runs. He could have just had the cycle, but he doesn't care about those accolades, which you got to respect at some point. It's like, hey, he doesn't care about some title, the cycle. Maybe he wants to make a new title when you hit a home run, triple, and 2 doubles. Because, I don't know what you would call it.
They call it the Henderson.
They call it the Henderson. And whoever did that first, I'm sure he's not the first guy. Probably not happy that we're calling it the Henderson. But, yeah, good for Gunnar doing what he's doing. And the Orioles, hey, they're rolling.
Yeah. But Josh, I'm going to call it the Henderson because I'm not made aware of this until Gunnar Henderson does it. And you know what? This is the type of guy that you're going to get. He might win 5 MVPs. And you know what? He's going to go out there and he's going to say, hey, I got to hustle harder. And that's what you want out as an Orioles fan because you're looking in the pipeline and you go, we got Adley. We love that. It's like, well, now we got this guy, Gunnar Henderson. He's pretty dang good. And then you start looking around and you're going, we got this guy named Jackson Holliday. I mean, the Orioles are trying to make an AL dynasty, and
yeah, I mean they're working for it now. I guess on the flip side, you could only say maybe he's not a team player because his whole team wanted him to stop at first. You know, that's for them to decide. Hopefully, they can resolve that conflict. But good for Baltimore finally turning things around. People are saying this team's doing less with more with less than any other team. So good for them. Staying to Baltimore, Patrick, tonight is a big game. It's the Ravens versus Commanders preseason game. And normally preseason games don't really matter too much. Usually I wouldn't even care to preview them. But tonight, the Ravens have the opportunity to extend their already massive record of preseason wins. Right now, Patrick, what are we at?
I mean, we're going for, 24 in a row? They haven't lost a game since 2015 in the preseason, Josh.
It's insane. And so now they're going against the Commanders, and some people are saying this is going to be a tough matchup, especially considering that they had the joint practices this whole week leading up to this game. So they're familiar with each other. They've seen each other. So it's good. I think it's going to be a gritty game. I think might be a fight, and I think at the end of the day, this is the biggest threat to the Ravens' preseason streak in a while.
Yeah, I mean, statistically speaking, it is. And Josh, someone pointed it out on Twitter, but Tyler Huntley's not going to play in this game. It's just going to be a third-string quarterback battle between Josh Johnson and Anthony Brown Jr. for the Ravens. And you know what you're saying? If the Ravens can win this game, they're never going to lose another game, because I imagine we're going to see starting Commander quarterback Sam Howell out there, and he's going to be going against seasoned veteran Josh Johnson, and let's not forget Week 18 starter against the Bengals last year, Anthony Brown Jr. And these guys, look, they got it ball out. And so it's going to be interesting to see, because some people like to call the Washington-Baltimore rivalry in football a thing. But unfortunately, if you're on the Washington side of things, yeah, it's a battle of the Beltway. But the problem is it's not much of a rivalry, because a rivalry insinuates that there are tough games between the two. It's not much of that, because when we just look statistically speaking, the Commanders football team history in the last century, this century is not good. And the Baltimore Ravens, this century, statistically speaking, they have 2 Super Bowls. So you start running the numbers, and it's not much of a rivalry.
No, it's really not. And if we're being honest, Patrick, I think that the Ravens are going to continue their streak, because, I mean, if Messi is going to continue his goals per game streak, then I think the Ravens can continue the preseason streak. And I think it's about time to ask the question, is the Ravens preseason team the most dominant team in any sports history? Because you look at a team like the Chicago Bulls with Jordan. Yes, they get 6 championships. They don't lose. But is that more impressive? Is that more impressive for basketball terms than what the Ravens have done in preseason terms? I don't know. Is what the Golden State Warriors did in basketball terms more impressive than what the Ravens did in preseason terms? Is the New England Patriots, sure, they got 6 Super Bowls. Is that more impressive than what the Ravens have done in preseason terms? I mean, 23 preseason games, that's the record by a long shot. And this, I mean, 2 teams have 6 Super Bowls. And if the Kansas City Chiefs continue playing the way they're playing, they're on their way. But no team's coming close to what the Ravens have done.
Well, and you got to think it's a culture thing in Baltimore where you can have the backup players step up like that, and that's what they're building. And we've seen that during the streak, it's gone to a lot of playoff success because of it. So that's good for them.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's true. So and I'm scared to place a wager on tonight's game simply because I know that we were cursed for a while there. And I don't want to ruin a really good thing, but I might have to cash in at some point.
Well, then it's on you. It's on you if they lose. Like, what's the benefit? Like a $5 win for Josh Klein?
Okay, well, we'll see what happens there. But we're excited.
Yeah. Well, Josh, you know how we always talk about when the last undefeated team in the regular season for the NFL happens and they finally get a loss, that those Dolphins team back from the 70s, they're always smoking on the cigar, celebrating that they're the only undefeated team again. Well, where are they at right now? Like, what are they doing? Because last time I checked, 24 games is much longer than what the Dolphins did back in the day.
Yeah, that's true. So I think the Ravens are the greatest. I mean, in preseason terms, the Ravens preseason team is the greatest sports team of all time. Hands down. Speaking of,
and Josh, and just one more thing to add to this. It's like, look, if you're the Dolphins and you say, "Hey, it's preseason. I don't want to smoke a cigar." That's fine. Maybe just light up a cigarette at that point. Just show something towards the Ravens that they've done history.
That's a good point. Yeah, they should. I mean, they have to show that respect, and they haven't. Listen. Speaking of greatness, Trey Lance is playing good now. There's been a lot of jokes about Trey Lance for this past several years. Is he good? Is he not good? Then people said, no, he's not good. I made a video saying that he's good. People got mad at that. But now it looks like he's kind of playing all right. In the 49ers game the other day, Trey Lance played well. But the issue is every quarterback for the 49ers played well. And that's I think Trey Lance's biggest issue right now. Is Trey Lance goes 12 for 18, 173 yards and a touchdown. But then Sam Darnold, he goes 11 for 14, 109 yards and a touchdown. And then Brock Purdy goes 4 for 5 for 65 yards. So, yes, what Trey Lance is doing, it's great. But everyone else seems to be doing really good. And you argue at that point, is it the quarterback, or is it the fact that every single quarterback, no matter how good they are under Kyle Shanahan's offense, somehow does medium to good?
Josh, you can argue maybe it's a system quarterback place. And you know what? I think a lot of people are going to agree with that. But here's what I want to have, Josh. I want to have a conversation with Trey Lance's PR team. Because right now there is a narrative out there that he is not playing well, that he is not good. Like, even going on some of these highlight shows, they're saying that performance he had the other day, not great, even though he led him on like a game-winning field goal drive. So right now there is too much noise out there that's saying Trey Lance is not good. We got to flip the narrative.
Yep.
We got to get this back going right for this guy, because we got to remember, this was his team until he gets hurt. And it's not like a play through type of injury. He had to have season-ending surgery. So you can't question the guy's toughness.
Yeah.
I mean, how rare is it to have Colin Cowherd be full supportive of you one day, and then now he's done a 180. He has no support.
Yeah.
So you have the chance to prove Colin wrong. And that's what Trey Lance is going to have to try to do.
Yeah, and it's disappointing because we didn't see the Trey Lance, Deebo Samuel quarterback duo, wide receiver duo on his top 10 list. And so you're right, Colin Cowherd, he's not supporting. But the thing is, I'm rooting for Trey Lance. I want him to get a fair shake, but I just unfortunately don't think it's going to be in San Francisco. So where is he going to play this year? If he has an opportunity to play? Not sure, but if I had to guess, it's going to be somewhere else. Potentially.
Well, maybe we see it.
Potentially. Ready for this? Tampa Bay. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but
really
could
Josh,
happen.
I was going to say potentially Las Vegas, because we know he has experience in the quarterback room with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, that's a great point. So that'd be good. That'd be exciting for them. Speaking of somebody to get excited for, Jameis Winston looks like a quarterback one, and you can't tell me there's 32 quarterbacks that are better than Jameis. Like, you can't tell me that, because Jameis Winston went out there and he looked good, and I don't know if there's 32 quarterbacks better than him. I don't know if there's 16 quarterbacks that are better than him.
I don't think there's a quarterback that trains harder than him in the league. At least one that shows the videos on social media. That I can almost assure you of. Yeah,
no, exactly. This guy goes out there. I mean, he's throwing dimes. He's making plays, and the narrative is, that he's a washed up quarterback, a backup. He's not.
He's
fake
not. News.
He could be a starter somewhere. Now, I'm not sure what he looks like in the locker room, but if I had to guess from the videos I've seen of him hyping up his team and talking to his team, he has to be a great locker room player.
Torn ACL. On a torn ACL. I mean, he's dancing on crutches with the torn ACL in the locker room. That's the type. So it's not only the on-the-field performance you're going to get with Jameis Winston. Now you're talking about the locker room presence that you're going to get. I mean, how does he not have a job?
Yeah. So it's disappointing to see, and sure, we are happy for Derek Carr, but at the same time, we want justice for Jameis more than anything. So hopefully that in this preseason campaign that Jameis is putting together, the Saints see it and they say, "Hey, we got to give this guy a fair shot." Because I genuinely do believe that Jameis, he deserves another shot, and Saints fans they're gonna persecute me for that. They don't, because a lot of Saints fans are pro Jameis, which is sad. But
and here's tough, and it's like, because Jameis is going up against a stigma that Derek Carr's got the job, and you know what? I think that's true. I think Derek Carr does have the job, but we in the media have. I mean, let's look at Colin Cowherd's top 10 quarterback wide receiver duo list. I mean, Derek Carr, Chris Olave already there. They haven't played a game together.
Yeah.
So it's an uphill battle for Jameis to try to get into New Orleans to be a quarterback.
And the crazy thing is, was Derek Carr, Devontae Adams ever on that list?
Probably not.
So I mean, this is mad props to Chris Olave, by the way.
Because that shows you the potential with him. I mean, that's.
Yeah. So
good for Chris. Good for Chris. That's because he needs it.
Yeah. Messi wins the League's Cup, and becomes the most decorated soccer player in the history of soccer. Now, this is
Hmm.
exciting for Messi stands. I love Messi. I'm a big fan. It's exciting to see. It's exciting to see him become, you know, clear and away the most decorated player ever.
Hmm.
Uh, but some people are saying it's just the MLS. So, does it mean anything, Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, look, a League's Cup's a League's Cup, and when you look around, it's not just the MLS. I mean, we have two leagues in this. We're talking about, the American National League, the Mexican National League, and they're coming together to crown a champion. And that's what you get with Inter Miami. And you can make fun of the MLS all you want.
Yeah.
It's a top 10 league in the world, Josh. In the world. There's no other league in the world. Well, there's nine other
There's
leagues.
not
There's
10
nine
there's
other
not
leagues
10 there's not 10 leagues better than it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's tough to say because I know a lot of people that play soccer in this country can't say that because I'm sure there's probably a high school league a lot of people are in, youth soccer. And you know what? The MLS is better than that. So good for Messi for turning around that Inter Miami program. I just want to say, I think Nashville still gets the last laugh in the MLS Cup, but because they're gonna have that fuel underneath them. They got that fire. You lose in the 11th round of the PKs. It's a tough loss. It's a heartbreaker,
Keeper on keeper.
especially
It's
at
tough.
home.
Yeah. No,
Hmm.
it is tough, and you know what? I'm kind of disappointed at the Nashville SC fans because there's a little too many Inter Miami fans there.
But that's tough because and I would argue that Inter Miami that a lot of those fans that were there for Inter Miami didn't know that club existed 3 months ago. And they see Messi come in and we go, you know what, we're Messi guys. And they come in, they make the trip down to Nashville. So I think it's a hard place for Nashville Soccer Club fans to be.
Yeah, very tough. But hey, good. I mean, good for Messi. Good for Messi.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Edwards drops 34 points, shooting on 11 for 21 in the win over Germany. Now, this was very exciting news to me when I first saw it, but turns out this is just not even part of the tournament yet. We're still in the preseason.
Right.
And this feels like it's been the longest preseason of all time. Just the NBA is going to be playing before this tournament starts back up.
Yeah. We'll say this. The United States roster is not that good, but I think what we've learned is Anthony Edwards is that guy.
Yeah.
He is that guy
Yep.
now. And
I agree.
Coach K no longer coaches this team. But could you imagine the upside if Coach K was still the Team USA coach for a guy like Anthony Edwards? Because he's going to give him those hard-fought lessons. He's going to sit him down in the locker room. He's going to be like, Anthony, I know you're putting up 34, but you're better than that, man. You're better than that.
Well, some are saying that Steve Kerr's rotation is the reason that this team is performing as well as they are. And so maybe Steve Kerr's doing some great things there. But you really think about it, if this USA team wins with the roster that it does have, it's 5 to 10 more years of USA basketball dominance. It's like the groundhog seeing its shadow because we just know, okay, if we send the guys, we're good. Now, it's going to be very interesting to see how this shapes the Olympic roster because Olympics next year in Tokyo, I believe.
People forget. Nope. It's definitely Paris.
Paris. It's that's right because I was in Paris and they saw the Paris. Tough. Okay, in Paris. Okay, so, but if this roster goes out and dominates and wins, is there no incentive for the big guys to want to go play because they're like, oh well, we'll just let the scrubs get it. We'll let Chet take it. So. I don't know, but Anthony Edwards seems like he's finding his own, and it's good to see him on the world stage dominating. Speaking of the world stage, Patrick, Brooks Koepka doesn't auto-qualify for the Ryder Cup. Talk about this.
Yeah, it's a tough situation for Brooks. Looked like he was going to be an automatic qualifier going in. Going into this weekend, he was sitting fifth in the auto qualifying rankings. Top 6 get in for the Ryder Cup, with the other selections going to be a captain's pick. So Brooks is sitting there. And, he's a live guy, so he can't do anything about it. But, some of the other players pass him over in the rankings. And it looked like his top 5 performance at the Masters, his win at the PGA, was going to be enough to get him in. But it's not. So now we have to sit down. We got to have a real conversation, Josh. We got to have a real conversation here. Zach Johnson. People look at Zach Johnson. He's like a golden boy. He's from Iowa. He's, that Midwestern nice guy. Is he going to pick a live player? And if I'm looking at Brooks Koepka, I'm going, look, I won one of the top 4 events of the year. Like, how are you going to keep me off the team? So I think we're going to call this a developing story when it comes to the Ryder Cup here, Josh.
Well, Patrick, and remember, there shouldn't be a stigma to pick a live guy because the live and the PGA are the same now. So,
exactly.
And so if he doesn't pick him strictly because he's a live guy, well, to me, that looks like we're trying to divide the PGA. Mm-hmm. And wasn't the whole point of why they were upset at the live in the first place was because they were trying to divide the PGA, but then the live decides that they're going to reunite the PGA. And so if these guys, these PGA, purebloods decide that they're not going to, they're going to keep the live guys out, well, guess what? They're just as bad, if not worse.
Josh, I read it with my own eyes. They merged. Now, have I heard anything since then? No. But
no.
They're the same. They merged. So it would be tough to keep. At this point, if you keep Brooks Koepka off the team, he's one of your own because of the merger.
Yeah. So it doesn't make any sense to me. So hopefully, everyone comes to their senses and that we're not going to have PGA civil war here because that's the last thing that we want.
Tough. Mm-hmm.
But Brooks Koepka, listen, he deserves to get in because he played well enough, I believe, to get in. And it's not his fault it's not his fault he didn't have as many opportunities to score points and get in because he was with side B of the PGA, even though technically at the time we didn't know it was going to be PGA. Mm-hmm. But it looking back, those were PGA events.
Yeah, looking in hindsight's 2020, those were PGA events, and it's not like he had the option or anything to stay on the PGA Tour because in hindsight he did.
So yes, so he honestly give Brooks the points for every live event he participated in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good.
Yeah,
well,
it's a good conversation.
Well, that's great. William Byron wins NASCAR yesterday, and Chase has now one more week to potentially qualify. It's a developing story there. Can Chase make the playoffs? I don't know at this point. He came in.
Josh, I think that story's already developed.
He came in almost last week.
Yeah, the developing story is developed. He's not making the playoffs. Pretty pathetic what happened yesterday. How you run out of gas in the middle of the race. Hey, great effort though. I'm sure they were really trying their hardest up there in New York. So that's all that really matters. You go down, you try your hardest. In a sport like NASCAR, results don't matter.
Yep. So there, it's good for Chase. Hopefully next week. Hey, hopefully you win next week. And if you win, I believe Bubba is out. I'm not saying fans are going to be excited about that, but if Chase gets in, they will be excited. We know.
Well, actually, and we know that they are linked forever because they both got suspended for doing the same thing.
Yes, you're right. And some would argue if he doesn't get suspended, that one race might be the difference. But some would argue that if he just didn't miss a ton of races for snowboarding, he's in the playoffs. So it has been an interesting year for Chase. But again, we will see how next week plays out. So anyway, that's the show. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. If you're still listening at this point, DM us on Instagram at Picks and Pancakes, and you will get a free mug and a free $10 McDonald's gift card. All you have to do is DM us and say, hey, I made it to the end of the episode, and then that's what you get. It's a great deal. Also, go to picksandpancakes.com to read everything that's happening in sports. listen, let's have a great week here. We'll see you
Let's do
on
it.
Friday as we lead into the last week of preseason NFL football. And then guess what?
Huge.
We're in it. After a long off season, we're back. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time to be a football fan. And man, are we going to have some great storylines to talk about. We'll see you guys on Friday. You have a wonderful week. Peace.